are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Darryl Kinsey Jr. welcoming you to the Lap Extra Mile for today, August 25th, 2025. Well, the IndyCar season is over, but the intensity is not. The NASCAR playoffs are set, and Formula One is right back around the corner. We're going to pay some bills, and we'll be right back. Freddie B of the Raceless Podcast is here to talk IndyCar. We'll be right back after this.
For the last 10 years, iSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at iSports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iSportsRadio.com. At iSportsRadio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back here in Extra Mile, iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Freddie B of the Raceless Podcast is here, which means it's time to talk IndyCar and the Snap-on Milwaukee Mile 250. And Freddie, welcome back. 2 races to go until the championship is officially handed over to Alex Palou, but that doesn't mean the action doesn't stop, and the Milwaukee Mile had plenty of it.
First of all, Darryl, thank you again for having me on. And, like you were saying, Alex Palou clinched the championship the last race in Portland, which meant he still had 2 races left in which he could attempt to beat or tie A.J. Foyt's record of 10 race wins in a season. And it looked so promising to start this weekend as Alex won pole on Saturday, his 6th of the season. And he was well on his way to the 9th win of the season. That was until a little change of events happened later on in that race. But wow, one of the most exciting races I've seen, especially the last half of this race. That was really where the tide changed. And still with 2 races to go, they still made it very exciting. Alex now cannot tie AJ Foyt's record, so it's a free-for-all in Nashville next weekend.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of conversation about the ovals in IndyCar this year, outside of course, the Indy 500. But the Milwaukee Mile put on a pretty good race this year, and it looked like at the beginning, or really for the most half of that race, that Alex Palou was going to run away with it, led 199 laps, and then the freak rain shower came with about 29 to go that kind of threw everything into chaos.
Yeah, it was a beautiful sunny day in Milwaukee, a little bit windy, but all of a sudden raindrops started, and that threw out a yellow flag. Alex Palou was leading the race. Scott McLaughlin was sitting in second, and Joseph Newgarden was third. And that looked like those 3 guys were going to be the 3 that were going to probably end up finishing the race in that order. And but yellow flag comes out. The 10 car of Alex Palou and then the 2 Penske cars decide to stay on track, while basically everybody else in the field came in on lap 213 for a tire change. Mm-hmm. That tire change there was the turning point in the race. And what an exciting race it was from that point on, with Christian Rasmussen just blistering his way, weaving in and out of traffic, chaotic at times, nearly crashing into other cars, nearly putting himself into the wall. But ultimately, once he was able to catch Palou and pass him on lap 6 with 16 laps remaining, he was long gone. Ended up winning that race by nearly 2 seconds. And
Yeah, he started 7th on that restart and was
yeah,
just cutting through the field and made that, what some people said, Dale Earnhardt Sr.-esque pass on the outside to take the lead from Palou. And then he gets through traffic, and you learned quickly that Rasmussen doesn't have an off switch.
no, not at all. And that's something that I talked to him about when I interviewed him in Laguna was his style of driving. I personally love it. It could be a little careless, a little bit reckless at times. We saw that again in Portland where he went elbow to elbow with Connor Daly and what happened with that. But at the same time, that style of driving proved to be most effective and led him to his first IndyCar win of his career. What an awesome win it was for Ed Carpenter Racing as well. Their first win in quite some time. His teammate Alexander Rossi finishing fourth, so both ECR cars up there. And what a special moment it was when Rossi was the first to congratulate Christian and give him a big hug and embrace him when he pulled his car in a victory circle.
Yeah, Rossi was the first one there to meet him as he hugged. 30th career race, first career win for the driver out of Denmark, and gave us all a heart attack those last 3 laps. He was trying to get through, really those last 8 when he was trying to get through traffic, and just was absolutely cutting through like Alex Palou was right behind him, and made for some moments where they were telling him from the box, pleading with him just to back it down. They didn't need to pass anybody.
Yeah, he doesn't know any way other than to go all out, balls to the wall, is what I say. They call him the Danish diva. I think he's more like the Danish daredevil. He's just taking chances all the time. And like you said, with 8 laps to go, he had that race in the bag. He had a nice lead over Alex Palou, but still continued to try to work his way through those lapped cars. It wasn't necessary for him to do that. He almost put himself out of commission in doing so, with a brief instance in which I think he may have touched the wall or came within millimeters of hitting it. That would have been disastrous for him. But yeah, really, really exciting race. I was really, I was pulling for Alex Palou. If he could win the race, that's awesome. Then we're one, it comes down to the last race of the season, whether or not he can tie that record of AJ Foyt. But the way this race ended in dramatic fashion with Christian Rasmussen, of all people, who's been dominant really on short track ovals this season, was really exciting and something that I think the fans of IndyCar were all looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, we wanted to see how far Palou could get this record. It looks like at this point it's going to be 9. And now there's some rumors that he might be going to Red Bull, but we'll see. Those rumors have swirled before.
I saw that again this morning. Talks about him maybe taking that second cursed seat of the Red Bull cars, and I don't think that's a wise decision right now. But we'll see how those cards play out. But as of right now, Alex is in a really good position to continue winning championships in IndyCar. But if that opportunity comes, I mean, they will be coming for him. I just don't know exactly if that's the right opportunity in that Red Bull car.
Yeah, I think I'd stay right where I am if I'm Palou. But Scott McLaughlin rounds out the podium. The Team Penske number 3. And unfortunately, Will Power got into the wall, finished 26th and out of the race with contact. Not what you want to see when he is still pretty much in a contract battle.
Yeah, you know what? And come to find out that Will Power actually, when he was coming out of his pits, he was actually held up a little bit by Kiffin Simpson. And remember that name, Kiffin Simpson. He was also holding up some of the other cars later in the field as well. And yeah, unfortunately, Will, hit the wall and made contact, and his day was over. But still, a great season for Will up to this point. He's still going to do well in Nashville. I'm still on the fence as to whether or not he sticks around with Penske. My daughter seems to think he's going to be with Penske. I don't know for sure, but a result would have been a nice way to cap off and continue his trend after winning in Portland the week before.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see that, but unfortunately, not a great time for Will Power. We're hoping that he's still going to be there after next year, but it's just tough right now with everything that's going on at Penske. And speaking of tough, poor David Malukas was running up there with Alex Palou most of the day, then got the raw end of a deal from a bad pit gun on a pit stop, ends up going a lap down, manages to rally back to finish 8th, but Malukas was keeping him honest in that AJ Foyt Enterprises car.
He was. Saturday, David was sitting with a chance to win his first ever pole until Alex threw down 2 amazing laps to capture pole for the 6th time this season. So David Malukas was starting second right next to him. And he was, again, right with him through the most part of that race. But what had happened, like you mentioned, it looked like the right rear tire nut got stuck on the gun there and caused David to lose some valuable time. He lost a lap to Alex Palou, who came into the pits as well right after that had happened, and put him down a lap. That's kind of crazy how you lose a lap while you're in the pits like that. But yeah, unfortunate for David. You know, he still shows a lot of promise out there. If he could just complete a race throughout without any, mechanical failures or failures in the pits, he's going to put together a podium and get a win one of these days.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see, and hopefully it'll come this week to wrap up the season in Nashville. Some other notable finishers. It was Pato Award and Christian Lundgaard 5th and 6th. Good day for Arrow McLaren. Ed Carpenter finished 4th. This was the first time both Ed Carpenter cars ever finished in the top 5, by the way. So congratulations for them. And unfortunately, Nolan Siegel gets the wooden spoon for this race. Does not officially complete a lap.
No.
A self-spin, and there's a lot of questions, particularly from fans, if he's even going to be back next year.
Yeah, I put a poll out on Twitter asking, do you think, yes or no, whether or not Nolan Siegel will be back or should be back at Arrow? Now, we all know that his dad has a lot of influence with his ride with Arrow. He has a lot of money that he invests to keep that seat secure, but the results aren't there with Nolan Siegel. He's had many struggles when it comes to oval racing. He's put himself in the wall multiple times already this season. And I think if you saw the reaction and interview that they gave him, that he gave after his incident, he was really frustrated, put the blame on himself, just saying it was an idiotic mistake by himself. But you can't continue to keep doing that, especially at Arrow McLaren, which is trying to be up there with the Penske's and Ganassi's as far as the top teams in this league. I don't know. If it was my call, I would say no. I would not have him back for next season. And remember, last year, David Malukas was actually the one who was in that ride at Arrow McLaren before he had his accident. Then that forced him out. Then it was the carousel of drivers that they threw into that number 6 car. It was Teo Porcher, it was Callum Ilott, and then ultimately it was Nolan Siegel at the end. But yeah, I don't know. That could be a very valuable seat if it does pop up.
Yeah, and maybe a possible landing spot for Will Power if he does end up outside of Penske. I think there's going to be a lot of teams still calling his phone if he doesn't end up over there. But it's interesting because him and Kiffin Simpson were the 2 drivers that seemed to be on the outs about mid-season with fans. Kiffin has kind of bounced back. Was not the best day for him on Sunday, though, finishing 20th. Scott Dixon did finish 9th on the day. But on the other side, Nolan Siegel's just gone down. Kevin Simpson's kind of warmed himself up into a seat as far as the fans are concerned.
I think Simpson's going to be secure. He did really well in street courses this year. When it came to the ovals, though, that was maybe his weaker quality, was racing oval tracks. But when it came down to street courses, was actually pretty good, and had a lot of positivity and a lot of promise looking forward. I think he's going to be okay. We'll have to find out what happens. A lot of talk now with some of these Indy Next drivers coming up. Miles Rowe was just asked on Sunday after his race. He's 50-50 whether or not he's going to be back at Next or if he's going to be racing IndyCar. And he said if he's going to be racing IndyCar, he's going to be determined to be kicking ass, were his quotes. And if he remains at Next, his desire is to become a champion next year. So we'll see what happens there.
So that will be interesting. So we go into Nashville, Music City Grand Prix to wrap up the season. We want to see if Alex Palou will pick up another win to cap off his dominant season this year. He will pick up the Astor Cup either way on his way off the property. Mm-hmm. But what are some of the other battles you're going to be watching going into Nashville this weekend?
I really want to see those Andretti cars do well. Colton Herta won at Nashville last year. He raced really well this past weekend in Milwaukee, even though he started 24th. He was the biggest mover of the race, finished, I think, in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, I want to see those guys do well. Kyle Kirkwood and Marcus Ericsson. Marcus Ericsson, still disappointing season, even though Andretti's already announced that he will be back next season. But, man, I don't know. I think Will Power is going to do his best to try to win this race. Joseph Newgarden, it's his hometown track. He's going to do the best to try to win a race this season. I don't know, really. Prema, those guys, what's going to happen with them? I'm hearing now that they may be losing out on funding for next season. So that's another
yikes
story that we're going to want to watch as well, because there was so much promise that they were making a big investment into IndyCar. And now I'm hearing rumors that they're having some financial troubles. So we'll see what happens there. Darryl, who's your pick to win at Nashville next week?
Honestly, I would like to see Colton Herta go back to back.
Yeah.
I just want to see Andretti do well. It feels like we haven't talked about them a lot this year. And definitely, I would love to see a new winner, maybe.
I would love to see that too. I've been on the Andretti board all year, and they looked really good up until July, and then they've kind of fizzled out, all of them for that part. Haven't done well since the beginning of the June with Kyle Kirkwood winning. But I'm going to go with Colton, see if he can repeat there. But maybe Joseph Newgarden goes out on a high note and wins his hometown track.
I would love to see that. And either way, it's been an incredible IndyCar season. It was a dominant season for Alex Palou, and we'll wrap it up all next week. Freddie, where can they hear the podcast?
Podcast is on YouTube and on Spotify, Racelets IndyCar Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well, Racelets IndyCar Podcast. Have a really good interview that I will be having on that show next week. I'll be interviewing Dennis Hauger, the next champion. Next Monday, I'll be doing an interview with him in the morning, as he was just announced the winner and champion this past weekend. He didn't win the race, but he did win the championship. An awesome driver. If you don't know anything about Dennis, do some research on him. The next up-and-coming superstar, without a doubt. He's the Norwegian nightmare. He's so good. Really excited to see him, what he can do. He's going to be in next season, and he'll just dominate again. 6 race wins, I think 6 poles. The guy's amazing.
All right, Freddie B, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us all IndyCar season. We will have you back next week to wrap up the season that was in Nashville. And enjoy the rest of your, I guess, afternoon, because you're out over there on the West Coast. So afternoon, early evening, whichever one it is.
I appreciate it, Darryl. Thank you so much. Now I get to go watch my Padres.
Have fun. I would go watch my Nationals, but nobody wants to go watch that.
Thanks again, Darryl. Thank you.
You too. Have a good one. So we'll be right back. We go around the track in NASCAR next up as we go through the Coke Zero 400 and the playoff grid is set. We'll be right back after this here on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
And welcome back here in the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And it's time to get into NASCAR with the Coke 600. The playoff grid set now in NASCAR after 26 races this season. And it was a previous time winner that gets it done. Ryan Blaney takes the win in a 4-wide finish. Had Justin Haley, Cole Custer, and Daniel Suarez around him in the final 50 feet dash to the line to try to make the playoffs. But unfortunately, none of them would make it. Ryan Blaney would, and Alex Bowman, who got caught up in the big one right before the end of stage one, stays in the playoffs. Tyler Reddick also makes the playoffs after he gets into issues. And it was a different type of race on Saturday when it comes to the plate racing at Daytona, when it comes to the next-gen car. A lot of conversation about it, pretty much since this car has existed, but they were able to get the third line going when they needed it to go. There was a lot more, or the draft was more effective than it usually has been at Daytona, mainly because we actually ran this race at night. These cars seem to draft a little bit better at night at Daytona, at least. Talladega, completely different story, mainly because we run that race during the day. But it was a fun night. Unfortunately, the big one happens with Bubba Wallace on 8 to go in the stage. Just does not clear Joey Logano at all. Gets to a crash with Kyle Busch. That starts a massive melee, a big hit for Wallace as he collides with the front of Austin Cindric as Cindric was trying to avoid the wreck. Both drivers would be okay, but that is a 7th DNF of the season for him. And you're going into the playoffs now. The team has been inconsistent. That's the way to say it. I'm not going to be the guy to sugarcoat it when it comes to my driver. They've been inconsistent this season. And if it wasn't for the win at the Brickyard, they'd be out. Excuse me. If it wasn't for the win at the Brickyard, they would be on the outside looking in again. It is frustrating that we once again are scuffling into the playoffs. You get the win at the Brickyard and you follow it up by a pit road miscue when you had a good car in Richmond and a driver error when you have a good car at Daytona. This team is not executing when they have good days. That is the end of story. That will destroy you in the playoffs because you don't get a mulligan anymore unless you win. And unfortunately, I've seen this team turn more good days into 29ths than I've seen them turn good days into wins. It's got to be better if they're going to go into the playoffs and compete. Tyler Reddick is the same way. It's not been a good season for him this year. In what has been a slump for 23-11, obviously that team has a lot going on, the lawsuit included. But it's a team that we thought would build upon their success last year, and they really haven't. And it's sad to see that going into the final 10 races of the season where they could really make a statement and tell NASCAR where they can stick it. I will go through the playoff grid here, and I'll give my opinions on the 16 that are running for the championship, starting on Sunday with the Cookout Southern 500. We'll start with Alex Bowman, number 48, tail gunner Charlie on the field, 5 points back of safety, 14 top 10s this year, no wins, 6 top 5s. This is a team that had a couple of opportunities to get some wins, but just like some of the drivers we're going to talk about here on the bubble spot, had multiple weeks of the season where everything just went wrong. When you think of Alex Bowman, you think of Charlotte, Nashville, Michigan during the summer, 29th in 2 last place finishes to start the summer swing. Earlier in the year, 27th, 35th, and 37th, Martinsville, Darlington, Bristol during the spring after a time where he had 3 top 10s and a top 5. The consistency just hasn't been there. And then even when you get into after that, when we go to Mexico, he's 4th, then 11th, 3rd, 8th at Chicago, 19th in Sonoma. Rallies back for 3rd, gets 3 top 10s in the 20th at Watkins Glen. It's a team that they get down the road a little bit and then they scuffle. That's going to be a challenge. However, it's had some good 3-race stretches, and the last time they were here at Darlington, unfortunately, he was 35th. Bristol, he was 37th. It's not looking good, Bowman fans, to him getting out of round number 1. Austin Dillon, what do you want me to say? They're not going to Richmond again. That's what I'll say. So I don't think we will be seeing this team do much of anything in the playoffs. Last time he went to Darlington, finished 23rd. Bristol, he was 10th. But this team doesn't really look like they've had any actual speed unless it's Richmond in the 3rd stage. So I think Austin Dillon, thanks for coming, but he's going to be another one of those one and dones when it comes to the playoffs. I've already mentioned Tyler Reddick. We'll go back to Josh Berry. I am surprised Josh Berry is down here. He got that win at Las Vegas, and we thought he was just going to take off, but that team fell off the map afterwards. After that win, he did not have another top 10 until Kansas. His 3rd top 10 of the season. So he's had 5 top 10s this year. After Kansas, right before the All-Star race, he didn't have another top 10 until Richmond 2 weeks ago. That team has had a horrible summer by any stretch of the imagination. They have got to shake off that funk if they want to do anything in this 10-race playoff. The good news, though, them and Rennick, they're only 1 point behind Joey Logano, our defending champion, and Ross Chastain. Now, Logano got a win earlier this year at the Texas Motor Speedway. But again, he's down here because of a lack of consistency. A lot of finishes outside the top 10, a lot of finishes outside the back half of the field this year, in what is a championship hangover for Joey Logano. However, tends to wake up when the pay window is open. And that starts opening on Saturday. So I would not be surprised if Joey Logano finds the golden horseshoe and goes on a run. Ross Chastain, he is carrying the mail for Trackhouse Racing as far as ovals are concerned. We'll talk about his teammate in a moment. He's got 10 top 10s and 3 top 5s in the season. However, 4 DNFs, only 69 laps led this year. A driver that, again, got a win and then went on a little bit of a slide. Won the Coke 600. And then went 11th at Nashville, 6th at Michigan, 16th in Texas, in Mexico. And then 26th, 33rd, Pocono, got caught up in the wreck at Atlanta, 10th in the Chicago Street Race. And then had 3 straight awful races in Sonoma, Dover, and Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where he finished no higher than 24th. A constant theme, going to have to shake off the rust if he wants to get out of round number 1. Because he's in a good spot that he will not go through to the next round. Austin Cindric, 2 points up. I think he's got enough to stay in the first round. A couple of good tracks for him in this round. Hoping that he will stay there and go into at least the round of 12. We talked about Bubba Wallace already. Chase Briscoe got one win, a driver that you thought would have rattled off 2 or 3 by now. But he's another one of those drivers that really struggled. His struggles really were at the start of the season. Got the win and then went back on the struggle bus a little bit, but has bounced back in the last in the last 7 races. He's got 3 finishes of second. Had a 5th in Watkins Glen. Unfortunately, got caught up in the incident in the Daytona International Speedway. But I think Chase Briscoe has a better than average chance of making it out of the round of 16. He's 4 points to the good as we start. Chase Elliott, 7 to the good. And Shane Van Gisbergen, 16 to the good. We know about him, the road course master. If we were just running road courses, he'd be in the championship right now. But as we look at 2 of the 3 races in round number 1, he was 20th at Darlington, 38th at Bristol. I really don't know if we're going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to Shane Van Gisbergen. He just has to survive. And then he'll automatically go to the round of 8 because the Roval is at the end of the round of 12. And I think we can go ahead and pencil him in there as the winner. Go through some more notables here before we go ahead and take a break. Christopher Bell in 5th. We're multi-time winners this year. Ryan Blaney just picked up a win at Daytona. Been a feast or famine type of year for Ryan Blaney as well. And then Denny Hamlin, William Byron, and Kyle Larson. Those are the drivers that you would say have been the strongest all season. You want to pencil those 3 in for the championship for later on in Phoenix. However, we have seen time and time again these playoffs, favorites have issues and end up behind the 8 ball going into the end of the season. So we'll see what happens. We'll get started on Sunday, August 31st at 6 p.m. with the Southern 500 on Darlington, in Darlington, You can see that on USA. The trucks will be at FS1 for Darlington, their race, which will be at noon. So we're going to take one final break. When we come back, IMSA was in action in VIR. There's a scary wreck at the end of that race that we'll talk about on the other side of this break. Here are the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And we're back here in the Extra Mile, iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Darryl here with you riding solo as we head into the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR. This is a GT-only event for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship Series, and it would be Antonio Garcia and Alexander Sims picking up the win for Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsports. Surprisingly for the GTD Pro Championship leaders, first win of the season for that team, while Windward Racing picks up yet another win and consolidates their hold on the championship going into Indianapolis. Unfortunately, with all three races going on at the same time, this was kind of the odd race out for everybody, but it was a fun little GT3 race that happened there in Virginia Motorsports Park. Fortunately, the track is nowhere near where I live here in Maryland. But a scary incident at the end of this race where Danny Formal, that car looked like a fuel fire happened, and the back of that car just burst into flames. He got out under his own power. Thank God for the AMR safety team that was there instantly, were able to take care of him. And Danny is okay. He is alert. Made a post on social media saying he is okay. And we wait to see that team run in Indianapolis as we get ready to wrap up the IMSA season, as well as we got a lot of seasons getting ready to wrap up here as we head down towards the winter months as football is starting and the race cars are starting to get put away. We go racing again with IMSA, September 19th, 21st, the TireRack.com Battle on the Bricks. A 6-hour enduro for the IMSA WeatherTech cars. All classes will be involved. And GTD, as usual, at least for the pro class, shaping up to be a fight all the way to the end. While GTD, it's just been a domination by Windward Racing. And a fun little outing in Virginia, as we'll see how those cars run again in September. But as I said at the opening of the show, Formula One is also in action this weekend. They'll be in Max Verstappen's hometown of Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. The race will be back on again for Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri to battle for the championship. We got some rumors going around that Red Bull, as we said at the top of the show, might be getting a new driver for their seat. Don't know if Pelot will go there, but if I'm Pelot, I would stay right where I am, racing with Chip Ganassi Racing. But hey, we're going to get out of here for this edition of The Extra Mile. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Darryl Kinsey Jr. Thank you so much, and we will see you next green flag. Good night, everybody.